right, all right. Good afternoon, everyone. I don't know where you are joining from, but good afternoon from Canada, and welcome to another exciting sessions on what we call Glomax Tech Talk. This is an opportunity for us to just educate, enlighten, and encourage one another in the field of AI, data analytics, and data science as well. So my name is Dr. Johnson Iyilade, and today's Tech Talk we are going to be discussing what I call education versus experience in job search, which is more important. Education versus experience in job search, which is more important, because when you are looking for a job, definitely education and experience is considered a factor before they invite you for interview and before they actually hire you. So which one is actually important? And especially in the tech field that we are in, the tech field is a field where most of what we do requires us to use some software, requires us to use computer tools and programs. So definitely is requires us to have some experience. But beyond that, there is also need for education as well. So I want you to just join me as I discuss this today. So please make sure that you like, share, and comment on this video so that other people can actually gain access to it, and make sure that you also follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and also on YouTube at Glomax Solutions. You can just follow us so that other subsequent videos that we'll be releasing, you'll be able to gain access to it. So let's go to today's topic, which is education versus experience in job search. Education versus experience in job search, which is important. So usually when people are looking at career success, the two factors that are often coming into consideration is education and experience. Okay, the two factors, and there is always a debate on education. In fact, sometimes when you are an immigrant, when you come into Canada, sometimes some organization and some hiring manager, they will tell you you don't have Canadian experience, even though you have all the education, you have all the necessary qualifications, but they will still tell you you don't have Canadian experience. So we discovered that, if I would put it this way, the two of them has influence on your professional life and trajectory. So education is important, the experience is also important. But when I talk about education, I'm not talking about your certificate, because I see a lot of people gaining so many certificates. It's not the number of certificates that makes it. It's not the number of certificates. It is, when I say education, I'm talking about your knowledge, your IQ, your intellectual knowledge. That's what I mean. I'm not talking about the certificate. The certificate is just a paper, okay, that you have PhD in a particular domain does not mean that you are an expert in that area. That you have masters in a particular domain does not mean you are an expert in that domain. So I'm not talking about the paper. I'm not talking about what degree do you have. I'm talking about the knowledge when I talk about education, the theoretical knowledge that you have. The second one is hands-on, which is practical experience that you have. That is what we call experience. The two are very important. Your knowledge and also your hands-on experience and knowledge. In fact, in the field that we are in, the data analytics field, it is a new field in the sense that There is no requirement of have bachelor's in data analytics or data science. There is no requirement in most of the jobs. They don't require you to have undergraduate degree or master's degree, okay, in any of those things. So it is a field where no matter your first degree or second degree, you can transition and still work in. But the only thing is that you will still need knowledge. You will still need knowledge, and you will need experience to demonstrate that you are capable of doing the job. So when employers are looking for who to hire, they always consider the two factors: education and your knowledge, experience. It's very important. They are critical factors that will determine your success in the field. So when we talk about knowledge, I'm just talking about domain knowledge, because when they are doing interview, they will test both of them. In fact, in all the interviews that you will see, they don't just do one single interview. They always do maybe 2 or 3, or sometimes they even do 4 kind of interview, and each of them is designed to test different things. So usually when you are applying for a job, the first interview is maybe with HR. They just want to know you and then ask you some clarification question, and they don't really have much of technical information in that session. But when you come to the second session, it might be a technical interview. They just want to test your knowledge, and they will ask you a number of questions. They will ask you a number of questions. They might have a team of people, and then they will be asking you questions about the field that they are about to hire you. So let's say they want to hire you for data analytics. They might test your technical knowledge and ask you some questions. They might ask you questions like, what is the difference between univariate, bivariate, and multivariate analysis? They are just testing knowledge. They didn't test your experience in terms of hands-on. They are testing, do you have knowledge in that domain? This is statistical test, okay? Or they might say, what is the difference between Power Pivot and Power Query? They are testing your knowledge of Excel. It is knowledge, they are not talking about hands-on now. They are testing your knowledge in that area. Or they may say, oh, what is SQL and what is it used for? You know, they are just testing your knowledge. So that interview, it is more of communication of your knowledge. So it's not theory that we are talking about. It's not just having the certificate. It is about the knowledge that you have that they are testing in that sense. They might also ask you something like, oh, in Power BI, what is DAX? What is DAX, which is data analysis expression, and what is it used for? They will ask you those questions. So usually it is technical interview. They just want to see whether you have domain knowledge in that area. So if you are in a data analysis field, it's not just enough to say, oh, I can do Power Query or Power Pivot, or I can do some reporting in Excel. You've got to have some knowledge in that domain. You've got to have some knowledge, because they will, in the interview process, they often combine both education, which is knowledge, and experience as well. So after they do that technical test, then they might now test your hands-on experience and knowledge. So usually they will give you a project or a task, sometimes like a take-home. They might ask you to do a pivot table, or they might ask you to do a kind of report summarizing something, or they might ask you to create a dashboard in Power BI or Tableau. Okay, now they've already tested your technical knowledge. Now they are testing your experience to see that you can do end-to-end. End-to-end. If they hire you, you have the capacity to use the tools. You have the capacity to use all the resources that is required, A to Z. So they will test both your education or knowledge and experience in most cases. Why? Because if you have just the experience alone, but you don't really have domain knowledge, it will be a gap. It will be a gap in that field that you are working in. So they are looking for people who have both knowledge and experience. So they will always ask you questions to test your knowledge. Then they will always give you data to test your knowledge. For example, if you are a data scientist, they might ask you questions to test whether you actually have some knowledge they are looking for. They will ask questions like, what's the difference between supervised and unsupervised learning? Or what is the difference between k-means algorithm and k-nearest neighbor? They want to know whether you actually have some domain knowledge. That's what they are testing. So that is what I call education. So you will never graduate from learning, because in the field that we are in, there are so many new tools, there are so many new things that are emerging every day. For example, this year in the field of AI, generative AI just skyrockets in every organization. It just skyrocketed. Everybody is now interested in generative AI. And what led to it was just what happened like a year ago when ChatGPT was released. But now it's almost like something that is trending in organizations. So if you are a data scientist, you are in the AI field, and you don't even know what generative AI is all about, that means you are already getting behind. So we see that they want to test your knowledge, but they also want to test your experience in terms of hands-on knowledge. And it's very, very important that we balance both, that we have both knowledge, technical knowledge. You have to have some domain knowledge. Make sure you read, make sure you study to gain some knowledge, so that when you are preparing, and if you are preparing for interview, you can even check some sample interview questions online. You can say sample interview for data analysts. You will see some questions. Try to see whether those questions you have the ability to answer them, because it's very important during interview. Usually for some people, the moment they do the technical interview, they don't go to the take home, because they feel like maybe the person doesn't have the right knowledge. So if you want to position yourself strong in the field, try to get both domain knowledge and also get the hands-on practical experience. Now somebody might say, oh, but I'm new in the field. How do I gain hands-on? Because I've not worked for any company in the field. One thing that you can do if you are new in the field, that you have not really worked for any company in the field, is to have portfolio project. You've got to have portfolio project. And that portfolio project, the goal is to show that you have end-to-end knowledge and experience of what they want to hire you to do in the field. Okay, so if it is a data analyst role now, your major work will be reporting, okay, and they will test that with something like pivot table, okay. So then they will test it with things like SQL as well, to see whether you know how to extract data from databases, okay. But they can also test it with asking you to create a dashboard end to end, okay, creating a dashboard for the organization. So they will give you a data set, and then they will say you should create a dashboard. The reason is because when they hire you, they know that you have the capacity to do it. So if you are looking for a job, you've got to have that portfolio ready. That is the only way they will believe you. It's just like maybe somebody say, I'm a driver. Will you sit in the car when you are not sure whether the person can drive? No. So we have to prove it by creating a portfolio project that shows your knowledge and your experience to the people that you are trying to appeal to. So if you have a project that showcases your experience, then the idea of I've not worked for any organization will not be a factor, because they can see that you can do it. In my own experience, when I was in undergraduate, I started doing website design from undergraduate. And every new client that I want to get to do a website for them, usually they will say, show me an example of a website that you have done. They will not give me the project until they have seen some project that I've done. They will not give me the project. They will not give me the project to do. So the same thing, seeing is believing. In the field that we are in, they will not take you to say that I have the experience, I have the knowledge, if you cannot prove it. So that's why it's very important that you have portfolio projects that demonstrate the knowledge that is required in that field. Theory of knowledge is okay, but it's not enough. You will have to demonstrate it. They won't hire you until they test that you have the experience to be able to do the job. So it is very key to balance both the knowledge, because they will test the knowledge as well. They will ask you questions that relate to just knowledge about the field. Then they will also test your knowledge with practical answers. So for me, balancing both is very key. Don't ignore knowledge and think that, oh, I have answer. Because if they ask you some questions during the interview and you are not able to answer it very well, they will not move further to the coding part. Okay, so you've got to ensure that you are up to date in knowledge in the field, and also ensuring that when they give you a project to work on, maybe they ask you to build a machine learning, you have the experience to be able to do that. Now, if you do both, if you are able to balance both together very well, I believe that it increases your opportunity to, one, get a better salary and pay. It increases your chance of getting a higher salary and pay. So you've got to ensure that, because in the days that we are in now, learning never stops. You learn every day. You learn every day. That's very important. So if you do a balance of both, you will be able to qualify for a higher salary. Number two is also that you grow in skill development. Okay, your experience and your education, both of them, your knowledge, they are both important in growing you, because there are some things that all you just need is to have the right knowledge, the right information. Okay, there are some things that what you need is knowledge. There are some things that are hands-on. Okay, so both are very key, both are very important. So it increases your skill development capacity when you do that. So number one, you can get higher salary if you combine both together. Number two, you can also improve your skill development capacity. Number three thing is also that it helps you to advance in your career journey, because you don't want to stay on the same spot all your life. So when you gain both knowledge and experience, it allows you to move to a higher level. So they are looking for people with track record of success to promote. So it allows you to qualify for uplifting and promotion and career advancement. So you've got to know how to balance both knowledge and experience. Number four reasons why this is also vital is that it also helps you to become competitive. Because when you are looking for a job, if you apply for a job, the moment they post the job, you will see that, oh, they will tell you 50 people, 100 people, over 100 people have applied. So that means you are not the only one seeking that position. What will make you to stand out? What will make you to be the preferred candidate? You've got to combine both knowledge and experience together. It will make you to stand out. It will make you to stand out. It will make you to stand out if you can demonstrate your good knowledge of all the technical questions they ask you. If you can also demonstrate that you understand how to deliver what skill they are looking for in that field. That will be very, very important. It will make you to stand out. So that's very, very key. And for me, this is something that we all have to work on. There is never a time that you outgrow learning. There is always room to grow, because the moment you start learning, then what you even know, like last year, 2 years ago, you will forget it. So you've got to have that continuous learning skill. Keep learning, even though you are not yet fully in the job that you want in, but keep learning, because one day a company will pay you for all your learning and all your experience. It is very key. Never stop learning. The field that we are in is a field that is always growing. In fact, there are always new tools being released. So you've got to be up to date so that you are not out of date. You've got to be up to date so that you are not out of date. So make sure that you make learning a priority for you. Make sure that you are gaining knowledge, not just doing practical knowledge alone. They will also test your knowledge. What do you know in the field? Most of the technical questions they will ask you, whether with a team of people that you are scheduled for an interview, it is going to be technical question to test what you know in that field that you are trying to enter into. So it is very key to put that into consideration. All right. So, like I said, the secret to success is learning how to balance the two: your experience and your knowledge. Your experience and your knowledge. Don't ignore knowledge. Don't just say, oh, I can use Excel. I have practical knowledge of Power BI. I have practical knowledge of how to write SQL. No, that is not going to be enough. Have some deep knowledge in the field as well, so that when they do the technical interview and they ask you technical questions, which is not writing any code or anything, you are able to answer it correctly and understand the key concepts that you need to know, some key concepts that you need to know in that field. Okay, so just know how to balance both and continue to learn. Never stop learning. Even if you finish a degree, if you finish a course, it doesn't mean you have stopped learning. Learn some things, gain some knowledge in the field. It will position you and give you a good advantage in the field. All right, so that's all I have for us today. So thank you for joining. Now, if you want to grow in your knowledge in the field and gain some practical experience, we have our ongoing self-paced learning class that is going on. So if you want to join our training, especially for data analysts, if you are aspiring for data analysts and data scientists, so please go to glomaxinstitute.com/register and you can register, and you can also message me if you want to get more information about that. If you want to be a data scientist, so you can do some learning and gain some practical experience as well. And then also for our live class for the next batch is going to happen around February 2024. We will be giving more detail on that very soon. All right, thank you so much for joining our session today. Please like and share this video so that others that need the information, they can benefit from it. I look forward to coming back and talking again very soon on some other interesting topic, especially things that are going to happen in 2024 in the field of data and AI. There are so many things that are actually emerging right now. By next week, I'm going to come in and share some of the things that are predicted to happen in 2024. All right, thank you so much. I look forward to another session with you next week. Have a great rest of the week.